he would torture, imprison, kill his political opponents. Often public, he does it publicly. He does not care. African leaders don't care. They flaunt the wealth, the funds used by one person to do and undo. Girlfriends and call, he done. Girlfriend was bought a house. He has a girlfriend and a mistress. He has this mistress that he bought. Hey, hello. In fact, I don't think I need to go into his issue. I think his issue is common knowledge. I think everybody knows. If your only social project is to stay in power for life, are you human? Yes, so are you human? Only President Trump said, if you despise and shoot your own people like games, who will respect them? Who will respect them? If you our own Sani Abacha, ordered Hi guys, hello, this is your girl TTK. My name is Ttkjinadu. I am back again with another chat series. I'm back again with another telling it just the way it is chat series. So guys, stay. Yes, you are not human. Yes, you are not human. Yes, you are not human but an animal. And this is coming from who? This is the topic of today's chat. So guys, let's talk, let's chat. It's gonna be interesting. Right now, just because of the subject of our discussion, I am loving this guy called Donald Trump. Seriously, President Donald Trump. I know some of you are wondering what's she talking about. Yes, right now, just for one thing, during the last US election, I was team Hillary Clinton. I like a few things about Donald Trump, but I was team Hillary. I mean, I wanted Hillary Clinton to win, and I still feel this way, to be honest. But presently, right now, I'm loving Donald Trump just for one thing. There are quite a few things I love about Donald Trump. During his US election, I like some of his policy, just a few of his policy. I like his trade policy, his employment policies, and I like his travel restriction to some extent, not everything, to some extent. Anyway, debate for another day. But right now, I am loving him. He's making some kind of sense. President Donald Trump has been condemned for being so openly and publicly negative about Africans. So this man decided to set the record straight. And these messages are for our African leaders. And this is the reason, in case you're wondering what she's talking about, this is the reason why I'm loving him. Just this reason only on this subject right now. So guys, let's go. Some of you might have received this message on social media, or have seen it already somewhere on social media. This was sent to me on my Instagram. Somebody DM me with these messages, and a friend of mine also received it on WhatsApp. So I am aware some of you must have received it, but let's elaborate on these messages. Okay, first, President Donald Trump said, if after 50 years of independence you have not built any infrastructure for your people, you are not human. You are an animal. This message is for our African leaders. Do I agree? I'll ask myself, do you agree? Leave your comments below. What do I think? I think I'll share my opinion. Yes, of course. 100% yes, he's right. And this is one of the reasons I'm loving him right now. Message number 2 for African leaders. If your country or if your leader is sitting on, first, oil. Second, as in crude oil. Second, gold. Third, uranium. fought diamond, and your people are hungry. Your citizens are hungry. Your citizens cannot afford to eat. President Donald Trump said, "Are you human?" Please, can somebody answer that question? Are you human? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. On Instagram, somebody else posted this particular message from Donald Trump, and you get people trashing, criticizing him, and I just wonder why. I do understand that sometimes President Donald Trump could be described as a careless talker, but in this particular case, it's not. He's not a careless talker. I think he's expressing his candid opinion. Maybe we should look at, or maybe we should evaluate few. Let's evaluate few of our past African leaders. In this particular situation, or the message he released out for the public, I do not think President Trump did anything wrong. I think he's right, very, very right. It's just a bitter truth. I'll describe it as a bitter truth. Anyway, let us evaluate few of our African past leaders or present leaders, just few. First, and in no particular order, let's talk about Idris Deby. Idris Deby is the current president of Chad. Chad is considered one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Idris Deby took the building of oil pipeline funds to combat numerous coups against him. There were allegations of human abuse or human rights abuse, fraudulent elections. I mean, name it. His government is so corrupt, and is still the current president. Money and funds raised from Chad's revenue are being used by Idris Deby to buy weapons for the military to fight his opponents, to fight anybody who rise up against him. This one, popular slogan, "He killed my pa, he killed my ma, but I will vote for him." That's the Charles Taylor of Liberia. He ruled for about 5 to 6 years, but his impact during those 5 to 6 years was felt by his fellow citizens. Charles Taylor was charged for war crimes. He was also involved in the violence in Sierra Leone in 2003, which includes murder, enslavement, and training up of children, training children to become like children soldiers. I mean, this guy went as far as any brutal leader could go. He embezzled Liberia's funds, used it for his personal use, used it to purchase weapons to fight his opponent, destabilize the region. Charles Taylor acquired a fortune of over $50 million, despite the fact that the country is really desperately poor. But eventually, he was one of those presidents that was not that lucky. He was sentenced to 50 years in Hague. He was charged for war crimes and some other offenses. I think he was a scapegoat, but not, he was very unlucky. He was a scapegoat. I won't say unlucky because he deserved to be punished for the atrocity he has committed. Why would anyone criticize President Donald Trump for expressing his candid opinion? Nah, not on this one. I disagree with President Donald Trump in many things, but on this one, now I'm loving him right now. Mobutu of the Democratic Republic of Congo. President Mobutu then led a coup against Patrick, led a coup against the democratic elected President Patrice. President Patrice was later killed, and Mobutu became the chief of staff, later declared himself president of the country, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo, then renamed the country as Zaire. Then he renamed the country to Zaire. Mobutu created a one political party. How can a country have one political party? Anyway, that gives him the power of supremacy. With that, Mobutu looted the country. He drained the country. Mobutu flaunted his extravagant lifestyle. He lived an opulent lifestyle. Mobutu forced out all foreign investors in the country and then nationalized their owned farms, passed them down to allies, friends, and family, which, I mean, they don't have a clue anyway, so they mismanage the running of the farm, stole, mismanage it, and then destroy. They ended up destroying the farms anyway because they're clueless. They don't know what to do with it and to steal money. Mobutu of Congo was known for human rights abuse. He would torture, imprison, kill his political opponents. Often public. He does it publicly. He does not care. African leaders don't care. They flaunt the wealth they've stolen or the wealth they steal. They flaunt it. He does not care. And then you do not expect President Trump to have this impression or to have these opinions, even though they are negative, but it's facts. To have this opinion about African leaders. What's this flying? Ttkjinadu of Equatorial New Guinea. I hope I'm pronouncing that president name correctly. If I'm not, excuse me. Please forgive me. Forgive me, I'm not. Well, please forgive me. So Ttkjinadu, President Ttkjinadu of New Equatorial Guinea. He took power from his uncle in 1979. President Ttkjinadu run the country with an iron fist. He runs the country with an iron fist. No freedom of press, no freedom of speech. And President Ttkjinadu of New Equatorial Guinea is believed to be one of the wealthiest leaders in the world. He is believed to have a net worth of $600 million. He's one of the wealthiest in Africa. Time for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Federal Republic of Nigeria, my lovely, beloved country. That country is blessed. It is blessed. But let's talk about this man, General Sani Abacha of Nigeria. He obtained power through military coup. Sani Abacha of Nigeria obtained power through military coup. He issued a decree that gave him absolute power over that of the courts. Can you imagine that? Only in Africa. He issued another decree that allows him to imprison anyone without trial for 3 months. So if you cross that man's way, at least you're going to jail or you're going to prison is guaranteed for 3 months. Guaranteed for 3 months. That man, he didn't joke. That man did not joke. Do not joke with any betrayer or anybody peeping sideways that way, anybody messing about. He does not mess about. Nigeria at the time, even till now anyway, main source of income is oil. The money coming in from oil revenue, it's about $10 billion. Then, no, I'm talking about then. It's about $10 billion per year. A large percentage of this money is being siphoned by General Sani Abacha to his own personal account. And he controls every aspect of this revenue. Every aspect of that oil revenue is being controlled by General Sani Abacha at the time, during the time of his military. General Sani Abacha of Nigeria stole over $4.3 billion yearly from the country's national treasury, from the country's revenue. He was also known for human rights abuse. He torture, gives his opponents lengthy prison, kill, maim, and torture opponents, and is known to dish out harsh and strident punishment for petty and minor crimes. Abacha till today left bitter taste in some people's mouth. Like I said earlier, that man ain't playing, ain't joking. His name then makes some people shiver. I mean shiver. Seriously. And he's not accountable to anyone. Only in Africa. Only in Africa. And you do not expect President Donald Trump, US president, to say those things he was saying, or to say those things he said. Oh, please, spare me, please. He can say and oversay for now, as long until African leaders or Africa we get ourselves together. President Trump, in that aspect right now, he broke it down, and I am loving him for it. So I'm evaluating so that you can know. Sometimes I think we should go back to history, maybe a little bit of history, like I'm doing right now. Then the mighty has fallen Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. Hey, hello. In fact, I don't think I need to go into his issue. I think his issue is common knowledge. I think everybody knows. I don't think I will leave Mugabe for now. I mean, come on. Only in Africa. Only in Africa. I mean, corruption and stuff and little offenses goes on in other parts of the world. But the level, the gravity in which our African leaders carry out theirs is pathetic, is appalling, is shameful, and it's sad. It's very sad, hurtful. But anyway, let me go back to I think Trump has 2 or 3 messages left. So as I was saying, President Donald Trump said, if your only social project is to stay in power for life, are you human? Yes, so are you human? Only in Africa you find people ruling for years, ruling forever. In fact, let's mention some few past presidents that have been ruling for life, only in Africa. Majority in Africa. I'm not saying only, but majority in Africa with no result. Ruling senselessly. Just there as a head. Doing nothing. Nothing. People are hungry. Unemployment rate is high. Education standard has fallen. And you see leaders ruling for 10, 20, 30 years. Doing what? Doing what exactly? Let's mention some of these leaders. And this is just to prove that President Trump knows exactly what he's talking about. He's not in any way at fault here. Okay, the mighty has fallen. Mugabe ruled for 30 years. 30 years. I mean, how could one person rule for 30 years? He ruled Zimbabwe for 30 years. And the economy is still not stable. And if given the chance, he wants to continue. Whoa. Idris Deby of Chad ruled for 28 years. And he's still ruling. He's still ruling. He's still the president. 28 years. Mobutu of Congo ruled for 32 years. 32 years. Tedodoro. Excuse me, I'm really sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name properly, but that's just the way I could, that's the best way I could pronounce it. Tedodoro of Equatorial New Guinea ruled for 39 years. He's one of the longest ruling presidents in Africa, in the world, and he is still ruling. Ruled for 39 good years, and that country is poor. I mean, I won't say the country is poor. The people are suffering. 39 good years. Trump is just saying it as it is. Bitter truth for some people, but it is the truth. And let us just accept. This is not one of those statements or speeches or messages that we condemn, we criticize, or that we protest against. Nah, this is truth, bitter truth. And that is why I'm evaluating. The few I've mentioned, and this is, I've only mentioned, I think, 4 or 5. It's just enough for the outside world or people living outside Africa to just sum up their opinion about African leaders. Not to talk of people leaving the country every day, people running out of the country, illegal immigrants ready to die to cross over to another continent. I mean, of course, they will sum up their own impression and it will be negative. If the country is so good, I mean, how many European or American do you see risking their life to go to another country or another continent? How many? Just how many? It shows how useless our leaders are. It shows how corrupt our leaders are. It shows how poor our people are. The country is not poor, it's our people. The people inside the country are poor. It shows how bad things are, and it's sad. It's really sad. President Trump said, if you despise and shoot your own people like games, who will respect them? Who will respect them? If you despise and shoot your own people like games, who will respect them? I just like the way it sounds, because it's so true. It is so true. Very true. Anyway, again, I will bring up examples of presidents that killed their own citizens. It's very important we revisit history. So when somebody is talking, we don't get too offended. Seriously. Because they're getting their opinions and their impressions. They're getting their opinions from what they see our leaders doing. I will have to apologize again. Is it Mengistu? Mengistu of Ethiopia. It was a president in Ethiopia. His name is Mengistu of Ethiopia. I say Mengistu of Ethiopia. Please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing the name properly. That's the best way I could. Mengistu of Ethiopia killed a citizen in a campaign called Red Terror Campaign. He called it Red Terror Campaign. He kind of set it up to deal with criminals, but he was not dealing with criminals. He was dealing with his opponents. He was killing people in this so-called system called Red Terror Campaign. That's an example. I think he ruled from 1974 to 1991. This Ethiopian president. That's example one. The next one is Idi Amin of Uganda. The great Idi Amin. According to a Belgian report, Idi Amin, during his regime, killed over or almost 250,000 people. He was involved in, name it, any sort of brutal crime. The corruption was rampant, torture. Before he fled to Saudi Arabia, that Idi Amin, before he fled to Saudi Arabia in exile and later died there, Idi Amin killed his own people. This one, I don't think I can mention countries without mentioning my country, Nigeria. Hey, our own Sani Abacha. Our own Sani Abacha ordered a tribunal that executed one of our great activists in Ogoni land, Ken Sarowiwa, and 9 others. Another 26 faced death penalty. During his regime, secret killing, mysterious death, torture were happening. People being buried alive. So I can't mention some countries, I mean some leaders that were openly killing, either publicly or silently, without mentioning our own Sani Abacha again. These are the people President Trump is talking about, killing your own people. A leader that despises and shoots their own people like games. See that fly? I've been looking for that fly. I'm trying to kill that fly. I mean, it's just crashing my TV, crashing my recording, crashing my whatever I'm doing here. The fly has got, seriously. Okay, President Trump is speaking again. President Trump, in one of his messages, when he was setting the record straight, again said, if you take property meant for development as your own personal property, are you human? He kept asking that question. Seriously, are you human? I don't think so. Seriously. Selfish, greedy leaders. Are you human? That's a question for our African leaders to answer. Let me start with one of our past governors. In fact, I will not go to president level. I'll just do governors. You know, those ones that led the state within Nigeria or within the country. If they can steal so much, you can imagine what the other leaders are stealing, that are even higher in rank, are stealing. And if they could have access to so much. Let me start with a former governor of Delta State. He acquired 7 luxurious property in the UK, fleets of cars, Range, Bentley, Rolls, name it. This governor or ex-governor, former governor, in fact I'll mention his name, James Ibori, because it's online, it's everywhere. It was in the news. James Ibori not only bought houses in the UK, Dubai, South Africa, name it. What finally led to his downfall was when he decided to purchase a jet, a private jet in Dubai. The UK government were already looking for him. So he has a lawyer in the UK. The lawyer in the UK started the proceeding for the private jet, which he had already purchased in Dubai. So he went and did the final signing, you know, hand over. The UK government arrested him and extradited him from Dubai back to the UK, back to London. And this is the beginning of trouble. Those of you that know James Ibori in Nigeria must have heard or read the story. He went to prison for it, but a lot of people escaped. A lot of people did not go to prison, and they stole money past governors. So you can imagine one person, one governor, not president, not minister, buying private jets. He controls the state's money, oil money. That is private property. This is not private property. I mean, this is public property. This is the property revenue meant for the public, meant for the masses development, meant for infrastructure, meant for electricity, meant for microfinances for the market woman, meant for free education for the less opportune in the state. These are the funds used by one person to do and undo. Girlfriends in call. He badon. Girlfriend was bought a house. He has a girlfriend and a mistress. He has this mistress that he bought a house for cash outright. Sister, cash outright. Public money. Nigeria's money. But he transferred over 250 million all over the world. Whoa, one person. Another governor is former governor now. I think he's dead. Now. He didn't die as a result of his crime. I think he was sick. He fell sick and then he died from his sickness. Ayamesiga was caught in London for money laundering. 1.8 million, if I can remember here, 1.8 million. This governor did something ridiculous and demeaning. He dressed a man, a full-grown man, respectable man of honor, a governor of a state, dressed in a woman's attire, wore traditional. For my non-Africans and for my non-Africans or non-Nigerians, I will put a picture somewhere here or here. This man disguised and dressed in women outfits. Then, for the help passport, eloped back to Nigeria. With the help of a forged passport, eloped back to Nigeria and then continue as the governor. In fact, his arrival into the country or into the state, Bayelsa State, was grand. It was welcome. It was grand. It was so welcome. People were jubilating, celebrating that he was not caught, he was not arrested. Can you imagine people's mentality? Like I said in one of my videos, we celebrate our leaders. We celebrate our corrupt, greedy leaders. Can you imagine? They were jubilating, dancing. Okay, so can you blame President Trump for expressing his views? No, this is what the world sees. It's very negative. It's very bad. I mean, the image is bad. This is what the world sees. This is what they watch on TV. This is what they read. Despite all this extravagant spending, our people are poor. Our people are suffering. Too bad. Okay, another one of President Trump's messages or message to our African leaders. If you leave, he said, President Trump said, if you leave your health care unattended, emphasis, unattended, and travel abroad for medical care, for your own medical care, are you human? I will repeat, if you leave your own health care system unattended and travel overseas or travel abroad for your own medical care, are you human? That's another good one. Seriously, are you human? The fact that, I mean, first of all, let me name a few, even from my own country. A few from my own country. They all travel abroad for medical care, medical checkup. Let me name a few leaders. I mean, that is public knowledge, that flew abroad every time. Our current president, Buhari, comes to the UK for medical care, medical checkup. Ex-president Yaradua, may so rest in peace, deceased now, traveled. They flew him out of the country to Saudi Arabia for his medical treatments and checkups before he later gave up and died. Our former president, former Nigerian president, Ibrahim Babangida, goes to Germany for medical treatment and medical checkup. Can you see? They all go to different countries. The fact that they couldn't be treated medically in Nigeria or in their own country shows that there is a flaw in our medical system. And it's been like this for years. In fact, if you don't have money in Nigeria, a proper medical attention in Nigeria, you will not get it. Those who go to a proper hospital, which is meant to be private, are those who can afford to go. And it's not just everybody. It's very few in proportion to the population of the country. It's very few in proportion to the population of the country in Nigeria. So a leader that knows or that's thinking or that knows that I am supposed to go to the UK or I'm supposed to go to Germany, US for medical care or medical checkup should also think, if he has the interest of the masses at heart, should also know that the fact that I am going there, majority cannot afford to go there and get medical treatment or medical care or checkup. They could not afford to go. So something needs to be done in the country. It means our healthcare system is crying for attention. They need to build more hospitals, employ more qualified doctors, make it affordable or even free for the public or for the masses. We have the money. Nigeria has the money. Let me speak for Nigeria. They can. It's sad. So what is Trump saying that's causing? No. This man is speaking my language only this time. And I'm loving him for it. This time he's speaking my language. Finally, President Trump said, until your leaders think less of themselves, more of their people, they are not humans, they are animals. He said, you are not human, you are an animal. Until they think less of themselves and more of the people, they are not human, they are animals. Yes. I mean, we need leaders. We need leaders that cares. We need leaders that are not selfish. We need leaders that are not greedy. We need leaders that's compassionate. We need kind leaders. We need leaders that want a better tomorrow. We need leaders with foresight. We need leaders that can give us hope again, because most people have lost hope, and I'm still optimistic for some reason. I don't know why, even though things are not looking, because I mean the election, the upcoming presidential election in Nigeria that will be taking place in 2019. As for me, I'm just looking at the candidates and I'm thinking, oh my God, I hope we're not going backwards, like 20 years backwards. I'm just saying to myself, I hope we're not going backwards, like 20 years backwards. Seriously. So as for President Trump, my peeps, President Trump can keep talking. He can keep talking. He can just keep talking. No offense for me. And I just wish one of those leaders can stumble on my video. Maybe if they hear it for somebody who is not part of their clique, their league, who they will consider Mr. or Mrs. Nobody, maybe they will think, or maybe we'll hit something. Seriously. Anyway, guys, as I always said, I think I've ranted for so long. It's nice talking to you. I love chatting with you guys. Have a nice week. Have a nice weekend. God bless you all. Please remember once again to subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel. Please subscribe. I would like you to subscribe. I would love you to subscribe. Subscribe and hit that bell. Hit that bell so that you can be notified when I release any video. Love you guys. Love you. God bless you. Thank you very much. And bye.